What is the point of the Waterloo and City line? Statistically, it's the line that you are least likely to have used, and yet it's one of the most intensively used sections on the whole network. So how has a line that's shorter than a Heathrow runway become such an important and idiosyncratic link? In today's Journey of the Month, I'm taking a trip on the Waterloo and City line from Bank to Waterloo. Along the way, I'll explore the Underground's only underground depot, and that's about it. I mean, it's a short line. But first, I'm going to give you a potted history of the Waterloo and City line in the time it takes to ride it. Start the clock. The Waterloo and City was built in the 1890s for very similar reasons to the Metropolitan Railway 3 decades prior. The railway companies wanted to reach the commercial centre of the City of London. The London and South Western Railway had their terminus here at Waterloo, but getting further was expensive and a political no-go. Waterloo couldn't escape if we wanted to. Various options were mooted and booted before the independent Waterloo and City Railways proposal took shape. In 1890, the world's first deep-level underground line was opened, the City and South London Railway, which now forms part of the Northern Line. The Waterloo and City would become London's second. The proposal was backed by the London and South Western, the new line would be run by them, and in 1907 they formally absorbed the Waterloo and City. Makes me wonder how independent they ever were. The line's construction was made possible by this man, James Henry Greathead. Greathead's great head created the Greathead Shield, a ring of iron that inched gradually through the earth, allowing workers to dig through it and then line the tunnel behind it. Its shape is why we now know the tube as the tube. One of the tunnelling shields was left in the earth after the construction was finished in the 1890s, and now the passageway between the DLR and the Waterloo and City at Bank cuts right through the middle of it. Another bit of early Waterloo and City heritage you can find, on Spur Road outside Waterloo Station you can see the former small coal-fired power station that initially supplied electricity to the line, and we'll be back here in a little bit. When the line opened in 1898, Bank Station was called City, hence the name. But then 2 years later, what are now the Northern and Central lines arrived and called it Bank. I mean, it's bad enough having a station called Monument within the same complex. I mean, pick a name! In 1923, the London and South Western, and therefore the Waterloo and City Railway, was absorbed into the Southern Railway, which is a whole other thing. But it means that the Waterloo and City didn't become a part of the Underground, which is why on early Underground maps, like this one at the London Transport Museum, the Waterloo and City is only shown as a very faint grey line. It does appear on later maps, but only ever as something other, an edge case. These 1961 and 1964 maps show the Waterloo and City as a white line, whilst this 1973 map showing all of British rail lines in red includes the Waterloo and City, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. By 1948, the Southern Railway had been absorbed into the new British Railways. They weren't great yet, you see. Do you remember that web game, Agario? The history of the railways has always been a bit like that when you think about it. Anyway, in 1960, a new innovation hit Bank, the Travelator, or moving walkway. Apparently, this one is the first in Europe. In the 1980s, British Rail created their Network South East sub-brand for their network in the South East. Oh, that's why they called it that. The Waterloo and City was no different, which is why you can still see some of their branding on its platforms today. Look out for the parallelograms under the yellow lines at both Waterloo and Bank. Then, in 1994, British Rail started a process of privatisation, at which point the Waterloo and City was finally transferred to the London Underground, meaning you could call it the second oldest, sixth oldest, or the newest tube line on the network, depending on how pedantic you want to be that day. As such a short line connecting such important hubs, the Waterloo and City has been the subject of numerous suggestions for extension or addition, such as connecting with the Great Northern at Moorgate, or an interchange with the District and Circle here at Blackfriars. Despite what today's tube map implies, the Waterloo and City passes just about under my feet right next to Blackfriars, north of the Thames. But for over 120 years, it's always just been the Waterloo and City Bank. And it's always been an interesting one in the sense that it's very busy in one direction in the morning, very busy in the other direction in the evening, not very busy at other times, and it takes the weekend off. And now here we are arriving at Waterloo in just about 4 minutes, if you excuse the time in which I've been coming here for cutaways and things like that. But the line doesn't quite end here. It does go a little bit further, and I'm determined to go and check that out for myself. Look. There it is. Yes, it's the Waterloo depot where the line's fleet is maintained. The Victoria line might be entirely underground, but its depot at Northumberland Park isn't. Here though, it's entirely subterranean, with no connection to any other line. Surely that presents some challenges. I spoke to train operations manager Mo to find out.
It's the only fully underground depot, and there is no way to get trains in and out of here. So what we do, there's a crane, they'll lift the train up, put it on the flatbed, and then away it goes for heavy maintenance, like the doors. Most stuff is done here, but if we need to, then yes, we will lift the train up. So at the depot, as you can see behind me, you've got the maintenance, so you've got the 2 pit roads where the trains come in to be maintained. The train gets washed every day. But the most critical thing here, because it's only 5 trains, if a train goes out of service, it affects the line, so you'll go to severe delays very quickly. The train will come in here, the depot staff will put all hands on deck, and then we'll get them back out to run service for our customers. I think it is very unique because it's such a short run. Drivers come off, they see each other more often, they've got a breakfast club, they've got a dinner club. It's just a nice environment to be in. It's very different from any other place that I've worked.
Thank you to the team at Waterloo Depot for showing me around, and thank you for joining me on the Tube's small but mighty Waterloo and City line. And it's the end of the line for this series of Journey of the Month as well, but hopefully we'll be back in the springtime with some bigger and better behind-the-scenes journeys across London's transport network. And there might even be some treats in the works in the meantime. Until then, see ya! That was a very CBBC outro.